The Oregon Ducks throttled Montana State. We saw a lot of running backs. We saw a lot of receivers. We saw a dominant defense. But what does any of it really mean? All that and more on the almost said Blazers. I'm not even going to start over. I almost said Blazers. I'm just going to move from there because I have to train myself. All that and more on the Ducks Confidential podcast. I am Aaron Fentress of the Oregonian and OregonLive. I'm joined by former UO and NFL great tight end George Wrighster, whom you can catch on the Unafraid Show. Just search it on YouTube and you will see him going on and on and on about everything college football from across the nation. George, what is up, my man?
Man, I'm excited, man. College football, though. So a week ago, we got our whistle wet with week 0 games, but this is a full slate, and it was crazy because my plan for Saturday and what actually happened on Saturday were two different things. I had envisioned sitting on my couch all day because as of Wednesday, my schedule looked like I was going to be able to sit on the couch all day on Saturday until the UCLA-Utah game, which I knew I had to go to with the wife and the fam. So I had planned that. But then here comes my son's team scheduling an impromptu scrimmage at 10 a.m.
No, they
So
didn't.
he had to be there at 8:45. So I'm the dad in the stands, umbrella, comfy chair.
It was raining?
No, it's hot outside.
Oh,
bro.
hot.
The sun's
Okay.
out.
Oh, you went Michael Jackson with the umbrella. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and they lucky if it were more than myself, I would have brought the canopy. And then so I'm the dad in the stands with the iPad. Good thing it was a scrimmage because really my son plays offense, so all I really cared about was the offense anyway. So when they were on defense, I'm sitting there staring at the iPad the whole time and then filming when he's on offense. So then I had to go back and watch plays that I missed in that Texas-Ohio State game, but I'm all caught up on everything now.
Nice. All right. I, of course, drove to Eugene to watch an exhibition football game.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
you are welcome.
It was so much fun. I did get to watch Jaws, though. Jaws is re-released, the greatest movie of all time. I watched it on Sunday for the first time and a big screen and it's the single greatest piece of movie cinema ever. Okay, before George deletes this podcast and leaves, let me get to our ad read here. Today's episode of Ducks Confidential is brought to you by Travel Lane County, an organization that promotes travel and tourism in the Eugene Cascades and Coast region. Ducks fans can find more at www.eugenecascadescoast.org. All right, we're going to start out with our These 3 Words segment where we will sum up the game in 3 words. George, you go first because I haven't come up with 3 yet. And you can smudge to 4. We can smudge to 4. I mean, can we?
No.
No, it has to be 3?
I got 3.
It has to be 3? Okay.
What we wanted.
Okay.
That's exactly what it is.
Break it down.
What we wanted. It was nothing more. It was nothing less. It was exactly what we wanted. It was the chance to see Oregon play well, not have 50 billion penalties, not give up a big explosive plays, not have bad tackling, execute the offense, catch the ball, block, tackle, all those things. And that's exactly what we got.
Okay. Mine are, you're going to push back on this probably, and I'm kind of on the fence with it, but mine are, we learned little. The only reason I say that is because it was clear that the talent level disparity was just immense. And Oregon, especially on offense, remained extremely vanilla. So as good as Dante Moore was, I didn't feel like we saw anything from him that you can't go back and find in the first 3 games of UCLA, although maybe he didn't force a couple of things, but he obviously lit it up the first 3 starts with UCLA, 7 touchdowns, 1 pick, 62% completion. This time 18 of 23, 218, 3 touchdowns. But probably the only really impressive pass where you say, okay, that looked like a big time throw was the post route to Malik Benson for the touchdown, where Malik ran a great ran a great route, stemming it outside, create that window. He just darted it in there. Like, that was a bullet, nice timing. There was a defender closing in there. He squeezed it in there. But other than that, it was dink and dunk, throw it around, because they were just able to just dominate them. So I will say this, though, and this is why I'm on the fence. Last year, against Idaho, 24-14, 17-14 in the fourth. This time against a Montana State program that's better than Idaho, just destroyed them from the start.
Yeah.
So that was good to see if you want to see the team, like you said, come out and not have a lot of miscues and dominate. But did we learn a lot? I don't know. I don't feel like I did.
I don't feel like we learned a lot, but I do believe that we learned that this defense against inferior competition will be disruptive. And that's exactly what you want. We saw Amari Washington pop off the screen. We saw Mateo pop off the screen. Blake Purchase pop off the screen. The DBs, the young boys coming up tackling hard, like just not stopping their feet. And that's what we learned. And one thing that I want you guys to pay attention to when it comes to big, strong teams is that when bigger, stronger, more physical teams, when the point of contact happens with the ball carrier and the defense, the play ends. Like, there's no dragging people for 2-3 more yards, them fight. Wherever they get touched, the play ends. And that is a huge sign of what your defense is going to be. And we will see even more of that versus Oklahoma State. So if you see guys getting grabbed and then getting the extra 2-3 yards after that, that is problematic. That is something to be 100% on alert for. But if you see plays ending when force meets force, and that's where the play's over, that is a huge sign, because that's what you saw and see out of the better defenses in the country. That's what you've seen out of Georgia year after year. That's what you've seen out of the Clemsons. This is what you've seen out of the Michigans. When you see really good defenses, plays end when people get touched.
And to give, an example of the opposite, we can go back to two of the worst defenses Oregon has had, 2015-16. In 15, the run game is one of the worst in the country. And early in the season, they were getting run over by some not run over, but teams were running better than they should have. And then in 15 was the year they got lit up in the air. 16, the run game. 15 was when Cooper Kupp came to town and got 240 yards and lit them up. And that continued the entire season. The pass defense was whack. The next season was the run game issue, where they're ranked 130th out of 135 or whatever in the country in run defense. And that started out early with teams running all over them. So, yeah, you're 100% right. Montana State isn't great, but you didn't allow them to really do much of anything because, like you said, the defense was just
and there were
airtight.
Other teams in the country that played FCS teams. And mind you, Montana State is one of the best FCS teams. They're ranked number 1 coming into the season, and they're good every single year. And other teams around the country had some early struggles with some FCS teams. So I'm not putting too much stock in this victory. That's why I said it's what we wanted. It had all the signs of being positive going forward, if that makes sense. There were no red flag warnings. Like, hey, yo, are we sure about this?
Okay. That takes us to the good and the terrible. So I'm going to go first here. The good, you dominated and you came away with no injuries, right? There's nothing I'm missing, right? I don't remember anyone limping off the...
Pregnon got banged up, but
nothing severe.
Yeah, he was able to walk off, and he came back on the sideline dressed. Yeah. So that is highly encouraging. Right.
So you didn't lose anyone for weeks off some fluke thing in a 59-13 win. And then my terrible, the punting game, man. 0 yards per punt, bro. That's just brutal. Like, you have, because at some point you're gonna have to get some nice punt. Oh wait. Oh, they didn't punt. My bad, bro. My bad. Scratch that. I thought there was at least okay. Go ahead.
Okay. My good is pretty much everything was good. There wasn't anything particular. It was what we wanted. It was an efficient passing game. But if I'm nitpicking, which I'm going to on the negative,
okay.
The first thing is is that I would have liked to see Austin Novosad throw more than 2 passes. That's first thing. But I do understand it's early season. They want to get Dante completely warmed up, running the offense. Completely understand that. That makes sense. But if I'm nitpicking, I would have liked to see him get at least 5 passes in. And the other thing that is glaring that you heard probably first here on this podcast is, who did we tell you was going to be the RB1?
Noah Whittington.
But that's not the alarming part. The alarming part, which I do believe has to do with probably how he took the news of not being RB1, was that De'Aaron Hill Jr., 5 carries. Jordan Davidson, 6 carries, 3 touchdowns. Now, mind you, I told you guys as well that he was going to be the goal line back. And see, this is why you come to Ducks Confidential, because you get the confidential information. And then Jaden Limmer, Lamar Limmer, I apologize. I will look up his pronunciation. He got 3 carries, and he got the second touch of the game by the running back. And he scored the first touchdown.
Yeah.
So, and Mekhi Hughes, the transfer portal extraordinaire, 1 carry for 2 yards. And that wasn't until like the 3rd quarter, I think.
Right.
So
he did catch a pass. He caught a short pass, but still.
Yeah. Either one of 2 things is going on. And I will ask about this, but this is what my football brain tells me out of a lot of experience, is that either when he found out he was not RB1, he went in the tank and probably did not respond well. And and so they were like, hey, yo, come holla at us when you're ready to contribute to the team like a regular guy and possibly earn your spot back, or the spot that you desired. So either that didn't happen, or he was a little bit banged up. But if he was a little bit banged up, it doesn't really make sense that you would put him in the game in the second half anyway.
Right. Yeah. So I asked Lanning after the game. I wrote about Noah Whittington and his day in the RB depth, which you can read about on OregonLive. And I asked Lanning, okay, 1, about Noah being the starter, and 2, with Hughes getting just 1 carry, what does that say about his situation and the depth? And he said, hey, we're going to have to figure out each week, who deserves the carries. And Noah talked about how, Coach Samples has told him every day that, you got to come in every day and you have to earn your touches because there's a lot of depth at that position. However, like you say, Hughes is a transfer from Tulane where he rushed for 2,800 yards the last 2 seasons. He did not transfer to Oregon to get 1 carry, right, against Montana State. So, yeah, there probably is something else going on there. I can't imagine it would last long, because if it does, wouldn't he just sit out this season and transfer again? Like, why would he burn a year of eligibility being the 4th or 5th back on this team?
I believe, right, is sometimes in life, we all get humbled. You know what I mean? And nothing can be bigger than the O. Nothing can be bigger than the culture of the program. So if a player has a bad week or this or that, or is, having that kind of entitled feeling, you have to send a message and say, you're not our guy until you want to be our guy. Until you buy into everything that we are doing, you're not going to be the guy. And that is important for every single position, because it doesn't matter whether it's, Decorian Moore, who's getting paid out the wazoo and big name and everybody wants him and all of that. If you don't want to buy into what we're doing, then I can't put you out there, because that will destroy the culture. And what you mentioned, the answer that Dan gave about working and all of that stuff, and that samples as well, saying that you got to earn your carries every single week, that goes back to like Pete Carroll action. That goes back to Nick Saban action. There's no free passes. There's no, you just get to just, do whatever. No, you eat what you kill. That's it.
No, I agree. You have to, because if you allow one guy to come in and act like a prima donna, it's going to permeate throughout the roster. So it'll be interesting to see that storyline play out there. Okay, Our grades. Let's give our grades. Offense, defense, special teams. You go first.
Ooh, offense. I'm giving the offense an A. You 39 carries for 253 yards. That's 6.5 yards per carry. And then efficient passing, 19 for 25, 253, 3 touchdowns. I'm giving it, and you didn't turn the ball over. I'm giving the offense and actually, you know what? I'm gonna give the offense a B.
Ooh, see, I went A minus and thought you were going to slam me. You're giving them a B because they couldn't do that. They could have done much better.
Yeah, but it was what we expected.
Okay, so I said A minus for the same reason because it was what you expected. The competition level,
it was really an A, but I'm giving it a B because it was what we expected. My A's are when you go over and above what is expected. And there was no way for them to go over and above. So I guess the ceiling this week was a B in my grading scale.
Okay, so let's take a few minutes to dive into Dante here. Then, what did you come away impressed by from him in this type of game where, like we talked about, he faced almost zero pass rush. The game plan was clearly very vanilla, which, Lanning said, we didn't show a lot. We had stuff prepared just in case, but you're not going to show certain things. We don't have to. If I can throw a quick pass out to Sadiq, he's going to break a tackle and score, then I don't have to go into my bag, right? So what would you say about Dante's day?
I saw something out of him that I had never seen.
Okay.
Which was that early run. He got up excited, showing some emotion, showing some passion. I was like, who is this young man? Oh, he's normally stoic and, and you just kind of felt that energy around him. And I believe that he's become a better leader. He's become more mature and he's ready to handle whatever's in front of him. And that was the thing that I looked at and I was like, okay. And in the pocket, he looked cool. He looked calm. He didn't look rattled. His feet, granted, there was zero pressure.
Yeah, but still.
He also looked very in command and felt like he knew what he was doing and the ball was jumping off his hand.
Agree. He definitely has a live arm. He said after the game that, man, it's been a long time for him, right? Because he got humbled early 2 years ago.
Yep.
And he's had to wait for the opportunity again. And he bided his time. He worked.
He backed up Dylan.
Yeah, he built his confidence. And so after a year in the system, he feels in complete command of what they're trying to do. And he's taken ownership of, him being responsible to his team and to himself to be properly prepared, which he had to sort of learn that as a true freshman, which a lot of true freshmen go through that. And now he's ready to, take the reins and run. I'm looking forward to see what he does, against better competition, obviously, because he's yet to have that type of success against good teams. But everyone has to cross that line at some point, right? Okay, defense, straight A. You couldn't ask for much more. And the thing is, Montana State, their running game has always been really dominant. 46 yards on 27 carries. And a lot of that, like you said, was because when they got to a ball carrier, the play ended. There was no, they weren't, you can't go back and find a lot of instances where guys missed tackles or guys got their ankles broken or anything like that. They were there in a hurry and with force.
Okay. I'm going to nitpick here, okay?
Okay, here we go. Yoo-hoo. Take the pressure off me.
I am becoming Aaron. All right. So if I'm nitpicking, right? And I am right now. They gave up by my account, the way that we used to judge explosives, they gave up 3 explosive plays. 12-yard run, 20-yard pass. They gave up 2 20-yard passes. Granted, one of them somebody
you consider 12 explosive?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because it's over a first. It's well over a first down on one. Yeah, like they in any NFL circle I've been, they typically consider 12-yard plus runs and explosive.
Okay.
And sometimes people will take it up to 15, but they consider that an explosive a lot of times, like and 2 24-yard passes. And granted, on one of the passes, somebody fell down, and then the other one, the Taco Dowler kid, he's good, and you're in a situation where they're feeding him and they're doing everything possible to get him open. And so yeah, I didn't mind it. I thought the DBs were pretty sticky for the most part, especially the young guys. I was very impressed with the young guys. I mean, even Alford, Sione. Yeah, I was very impressed. Oh, and I was also highly impressed with Terrence Green, number 99. They believe that this kid is NFL first round future talent. And he showed up in the game as well. I liked it.
Man, you are nitpicking because I mean, even I can't find fault in two 24-yard plays when you're blowing out the other team. They're bound to get something.
That is the only thing that I have a problem with. And remember that we talked about scoring, right? Is what did we want the score to look like? This is exactly what I asked for the score to be, like 50-something to 13, and maybe a late touchdown added. It was exactly what I wanted. So I'm actually going to give the defense an A.
All right. So just for a reference point, last year against Idaho, they gave up a 32-yard pass, a 36-yard touchdown, and a 34-yard pass. So this obviously was better than last year.
It didn't look like that. This did not look like that.
And special teams, of course, Jeremiah McClellan with the block punt was nice.
Yeah.
Again, like I said about the punter, I know you didn't get the punt, but still you got to find a way to do something. No,
yeah, and the punt returns were fine.
Punt returns were nice, yeah. Oh, well, there was the bobble, though, right? Gary Bryant Jr. had the bobble.
Oh, well, he fumbled, but yeah.
But it went out of bounds, but still, he'll be all right.
Yeah.
Okay, hidden gems. Who's your hidden gem or two from this game?
Ooh, I'm going to go with Kyler Casper.
Okay.
I wasn't sure how much we were going to see him. We saw him a lot, big, all 6'5" of him. And he finished with one catch for 40 yards. I was like, okay, bud. I like to see it. So that would be my
nice adjustment. A nice adjustment on that play too.
Yes, because that ball was underthrown.
Should have been a touchdown.
Yes, should have been a touchdown. 100%. And that was what? That was Novosad that threw that ball? Yes.
Correct. Yeah.
And, it was his first throw, and you're like, okay. He was like, I'm not going to miss the layup.
Right.
He's
wide open.
Tell your player, do not miss the layup. Like, that was a layup. Don't miss it. Even if he has to stop to catch it, don't try to just make it so perfect that you possibly overthrow him. Right. Just get the ball caught, take the explosive, and if he can, and he might be able to score. Agreed.
All right, I'm going to go with Jordan Davison because I'm still learning this team, right? So I've never seen this kid do anything. I was focusing on Hughes. I was focusing on Noah. I wrote something about Riggs.
I told you that Jordan Davison was going to be the short yardage back. Listen, Aaron.
I didn't, think that wasn't going to be the thing. I'm just saying that, the guys that were talked about the most during camp were the ones I actually wrote about or remember from last year in terms of Noah. So, look, 236, bro. He's listed at 230. That's like Jerome Bettis.
Bro, he's a little dooley. But he
can scoot.
Trimmer. He looked much trimmer
Did he?
in his uniform. And I was watching the game with a former Duck player who works at Nike, and he was like, I was just at practice. It's the uniforms.
But look,
he looks like Jonah. If you're trying to find a comp, his body type is like Jonah Coleman in Washington.
Okay, yeah.
He's still got a little baby fat to get off, but it's gonna be all right.
And he hits the hole with some speed. Like he doesn't look like he's a lumbering back. The one touchdown he headed to the middle and then had to bounce it outside and raced out there. But yeah, that's a nice weapon to have, an athletic, big giant back you can put in there to just pound in touchdowns. And so it'll be interesting to see, because as a freshman, it's nice to have a role. So if that's your role, you're going to score 10 touchdowns in that role at least.
I was like,
that's a great role
right now.
Exactly. But he looks like he has the ability to become maybe a Royce Freeman type, right? What was Royce? How big was Royce? Was 225 or something? Was he?
Yeah,
no, he was about two. No, he was 230, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Wait, how?
well, at some point in time, yes, he was a big daddy. He ain't
Yeah.
no little back.
Yeah, Royce got cut by my Bears, by the way. I'm to call him about that. Yeah, Royce was listed at. He was around 232. He's a big boy.
Yeah,
All
and
right, so we'll see.
Davidson is listed at 6 feet tall, so that means probably 5'11". But still, that's
Okay.
still like a little back.
We managed to talk a lot about a game that wasn't all that exciting. So let's now look at where the weekend leaves the Ducks moving forward, because there was a lot of action. Texas lost to Ohio State. LSU defeated Clemson. Miami beat Notre Dame. Alabama, which was already ranked behind Oregon at number 7, lost to Florida State.
No, they didn't lose. They got beat down.
They got spanked by Florida State on the road. So I sort of see a situation playing out this week where Oregon might not move up. And I say that because if you're 7th and you beat an FCS program, I mean, it's logical that LSU behind you and Miami behind you after defeating teams in front of you could jump ahead of you because they've done something to sort of prove their wares. And does Texas fall very far after losing to a top 3 team? I don't know, by 7 points.
Good, I'm gonna be honest.
I mean, they look good on offense, but their defense held the opposition to 14 points, and that's with the offense not doing much. So they were not in great situations. Yeah. So I see Oregon staying right at 7. But the thing about voters is that the reason why you have so many is everyone views things differently and weighs things out differently, right? So you never know how a person's going to look at things. But where do you see the Ducks ending up after this weekend? What does the action, the results from this past weekend, say to you in terms of where the Ducks maybe fall in the pecking order of things?
Okay, so I think Clemson falls behind Oregon.
Okay.
I think LSU is going to jump above Oregon. But at the same time, they may not, because Oregon did get 1 first place vote and they were absolutely dominant. Like the way I do my rankings, Oregon would not move up because I do mine based upon schedule played, quality wins, and dominance, right?
Okay.
So you can exert dominance, but if your quality wins and your schedule aren't great, then so far, and mind you, I tear everything up every single week. So if you were ranked 1 the last week, you could be ranked 8 the next week. It just depends on everything else that happens around. Particularly, and there's a lot of shuffling in the beginning of the season because I give credit to people who play better teams. I'm not just going to be like, hey, I know that, it looks like Georgia's great or it looks like Oregon's great, but they haven't played anybody. You're not going to be number 1. There's no chance in the way I do my rankings. So, and I also believe that I think Miami may stay behind Oregon because they were so dominant in the AP poll. So I do think they probably move up 1 spot. I think Ohio State goes to number 1, even though they probably shouldn't, because I don't, in watching that Texas-Ohio State game, neither one of those teams is the version of themselves that they're going to be in 4 weeks. It wasn't a clean game. The Arch played awful. I mean, awful. Sark didn't have a good game, but both defenses were effective, but I thought that was more because the offenses were ineffective. Ohio State was dropping balls all over the place. Julian Sand was the best offensive player on the field in that game, and he's a freshman quarterback. So, yeah, I was offensive skill position player because we don't get a chance to grade the lines as much. So,
right.
I think that they'll move up to a 6, but the most important thing is that you stay in striking range. Like, you stay in striking range, you put good film on. That way, in case you do drop that Penn State game, you're 4-0 and you've been wiping people out. So if you lose a close one, they won't penalize you very much for that at that point in time.
So real quick, what do you think of Bama right now?
What do I think of who?
Alabama right now.
Alabama's who I thought they were. I said I predicted in my bold predictions this year on Unafraid Show, Alabama was going to miss the playoffs this year. And people were and then when I picked it, and on the prediction, I made a prediction video for the game. I said Florida State will win this football game. They were 13.5-point underdogs. Alabama people came on my channel, Aaron, and they said in the comments, and said, Alabama fans have the chance to make or break your channel. If you are wrong about this, we will torpedo you.
Jeez.
And I was like, and so yesterday I had to address them on the live stream. I was like, hey, I'm glad that you're back.
Did anyone come and apologize?
Not yet. The
Not
video's
yet.
only been up for what? For 12, I mean for like 18 hours. So yeah.
Give him a chance. Give him a chance.
Well, and two, I haven't looked at all the comments yet because I'm going to review the comments later.
Okay. All right. So as we announced earlier, we're going to do 2 podcasts a week. So we're not going to talk much about Oklahoma State until later in the week. We'll devote that show to the news of the week and looking ahead to the next game. But we will do a quick look, a sneak peek, so to speak, at the Oklahoma State game. So they lost their quarterback, Haas Hedgney, underwent foot surgery. He was injured during a 27-7 win over UT Martin. And Zane Flores, a freshman, an interesting freshman because he redshirted and got a medical hardship, so he's really a third-year freshman, will start. He was decent, in that first game. Their rushing attack was so-so. They're mixing in some new offensive linemen still. I got this as a threat level of 0, bro. Like, there's no chance they're winning this game.
Remember, I told you that this threat level was low, even if Haas Henge had been in.
What'd you say? How'd you pronounce it? Hedgney?
Hedgney.
Haas? Hedgney. Okay.
Yeah. Haas.
Haas. Yeah.
Haas for sure.
Yeah.
Haas Hedgney, and but the fact that against UT Martin, 42 carries for 127. That's not promising.
No.
I'm gonna tell you that. If that's how you ran the ball last game, it probably will not go well against this Oregon team in the run game factor.
Especially with a young quarterback. So
yes, and you only scored 27 points versus UT Martin. I know you lost your starting quarterback, but that's not our problem.
Right. I always like to give, major college programs at least a 1 in the threat level. Back when I did this back in the day when I covered Oregon as my primary beat. But in this case, mediocre run game, new quarterback, and you're coming off 3-9 last year. This
could be the same exact score as last week.
Exactly. Because just from the fact that obviously they're probably going to be more talented than Montana State, but then you're just going to open things up more in the passing game and get, bigger plays, et cetera, et cetera. All right. So we agree.
Yes. If they give up over 21 points, I will be concerned.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go with the exact.
I'll say if they give up more than 17 points, I will be concerned.
Okay. So my prediction
they scored like 70, then actually I still wouldn't like 17.
So my prediction last week was 47-17. I'm gonna go with that one again this week, 47-17. You got an early prediction? You can wait. You don't have to. You don't have to come up with a number. You can wait.
I'm gonna go the same as the Montana State game.
Which
actually, I'll give them
same score, 59.
I'll give them another field goal. So we'll go 16 to 50 something.
Okay. That's fair. All right, that's it. Good work. Today's episode of the Ducks Confidential podcast was brought to you by Travel Lane County, an organization that promotes travel and tourism in the Eugene, Cascades, and Coast region. Ducks fans can find out more at www.eugenecascadescoast.org. Thanks for listening. We'll be back midweek to talk about whatever news comes out of the week and preview the Oklahoma State game. Take care of yourself.